Hey everyone, it's time once again for another episode of Mid Card Mana. We got over here. Who am I again? Let me check. Hold on. The loose cannon. I'm loose cannon. All right. I was gonna say Sam Keller, the wrestling connoisseur. I've been having some trouble because I just pretend that they're all here with me, and now I don't know who I am anymore. So of course I am the loose cannon, aka Fumiko Omega, and Sam Keller, the wrestling connoisseur, is not here because he is moved kind of far away and it's hard to get him to record with my crazy schedule and his crazy schedule. And we got over here no one but, of course, Dickie Long Stockings, Dickie Long, or Dick Long for short, who I am cruise married to. Even though he is far away, I am still bound by maritime law because I'm surrounded by ocean. So obviously I should have put a stipulation into the non-contract that we had. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about World Tag League, which, as I'm recording this right now, is going to start maybe in a matter of hours, an hour or so, in Japan. So it is starting on Saturday, November 17th, 2018, and running into December, going to sort of determine who will challenge at Wrestle Kingdom for the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championships, which are currently held by Tama Tonga and Tangaroa of Bullet Club. So going to go over some of the teams this year. Instead of 16 from last year, they're now down to 14 competing in this year's World Tag League. So going first, we're going to talk about Evo and Sonata, 2017 World Tag League winners. We're going to see if maybe they can reclaim the win here to go on and challenge Tama Tonga and Tangaroa, which I think would be incredible. GOD versus Evo and Sonata, just all my money. I love both these tag teams, and I would love to see them really fight against each other for titles. It'd be great. So the next tag teams that I want to talk about, there are three that are from Suzuki-gun and are being represented. So the first one I want to talk about is, of course, Minoru Suzuki, which, of course, is the leader of Suzuki-gun, and Takashi Iizuka, who is the resident kind of Hannibal Lecter-ish. They card him out sometimes, have a mask on his face, and he bites people. So I guess that's kind of what they're going for. So they are tagging together for World Tag League. The second tag team from Suzuki-gun is Killer Elite Squad, who going into last year's World Tag League were the IWGP World Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, and they ended up at Wrestle Kingdom last year losing to the winners, which were Evo and Sonata. So interesting to see. We haven't seen as much of Killer Elite Squad lately, so it'll be interesting to see how they are working together again, especially because Davey Boy Smith has been doing a lot of stuff in Major League Wrestling with Brian Pillman Jr. and Teddy Hart as part of a new Hart Foundation. So interesting to see how they'll sort of team up again, if there's going to be any sort of changes in their dynamic because of this. And the third tag team representing Suzuki-gun, which is, I think, the most interesting one, is I was going to say Taichi, but yes, Taichi and Zack Sabre Jr. Now, we haven't really seen these two specifically work together too much. Taichi, of course, having just lost his Never Openweight Championship, and Zack Sabre Jr. really usually working with Taka Michinoku more. So interesting to see how these two, because of their really different in-ring styles and in-ring characters, are going to work together. Of course, they are part of Suzuki-gun, so they're going to be Suzuki-gun anyway. But I'm interested to see if Zack Sabre Jr. puts up with Taichi singing, if Taichi is willing to stand up to Zack Sabre Jr. saying that it's probably going to suck. Who knows? So the next tag teams that I'm going to talk about are the two that are representing Chaos. So we got, from last year, we had Tomohiro Ishii and Toru Yano. And I believe also last year we had Beretta and Chucky T, both in World Tag League. So interesting to see these combinations again. Of course, Beretta and Chucky T regularly tag team with each other as best friends. And you usually see when they have tag teams for Chaos, Ishii and Yano also sort of go together, which is interesting because of the very different sorts of styles and personas they have. But of course, again, like I said, we do usually see these tag teams working together. So I'm imagining it's going to be pretty solid like it usually is. So the next tag team, and this one I thought was interesting, mostly because of how things have sort of split up, specifically in Bullet Club, is Hangman Page, who is solidly in the elite, and the Tokyo Pimp Yujiro Takahashi, who kind of hasn't really been clearly grouped as one or another, whether it be Bullet Club or the elite. But I guess with this, it's kind of really sort of solidifying his spot in the elite versus his spot in Bullet Club, which is interesting because usually you would see Yujiro working more with Fale and Gorillas of Destiny and all them. So it's interesting that it's interesting that Yujiro has sort of fallen on the side of the elite. So I'm interested to see the possible tag team workings of Hangman Page and Yujiro. It'll be interesting to see because I don't think either of them have really worked that much with each other. So I'm looking forward to it. Then, of course, on the other side of it, Bullet Club, represented by GOD, the Gorillas of Destiny, Tama Tonga and Tangaloa, who are the current IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. So maybe they go and win this whole thing, and then someone else has to come out of nowhere to challenge them. Who knows? Who can tell? So the next tag teams I kind of want to talk about are Tenkozi, which are Hiroyoshi Tenzan and Satoshi Kojima, which have been tagging together forever. They've won World Tag League before. They've held the IWGP World Heavyweight Tag Team Championships before. Really a solid team. Always good to fill out any tag team competition or any heavyweight tag team competition. And Yuji Nagata and Manabu Nakanishi, they had a really good series of matches against each other last year, I want to say. And it'll be interesting to see them tagging together, especially because these two are sort of more of the elder statesmen of the competition, and a lot of them, and they've been spending a little bit more time working with some of the young lions. So it'll be interesting to see them as a tag team instead of having one of them tagging with the young lion. Speaking of the young lions, we have a young lion tag team in there as well of Ayato Yoshida and Shota Umino. Of course, Shota is Red Shoes' son. You can tell because he's the only one out of the young lions allowed to wear red shoes. You see them all dressed the same except for Shota, who wears red shoes. It's just sort of an interesting shout out to him being Red Shoes' son. I'm interested to see Shota. They've been doing a lot with as far as the Young Lions program. He's one of the young lions I've seen have the most amount of character, so to speak, in which I've seen him in some matches sort of play more of the heel, and then in some matches have him be a little bit more of the savior face of the young lions tag teaming. So I'm interested to see, is this a good showing for him before he goes out on excursion? Who knows? So the next tag team I want to talk about is Finjuice, which tagged last year, I believe, and actually are frequent tag partners in Taguchi, Japan. That is Juice Robinson, the former IWGP United States champion, and David Finlay, who recently had a match at Lions Break, I want to say, against Kenny Omega for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Now, David Finlay is also a recent graduate of the Young Lions program of New Japan and has just come back and kind of really started to build up his own sort of legacy as a wrestler in the New Japan roster rather than as a Young Lion. So I'm interested to see both Juice Robinson and David Finlay go a little bit farther than they did last year. I can't speak words. What's going on with me? And this is probably the most interesting matchup to me based on what's been going on lately. So this next tag team I want to talk about is Togi Makabe and Toa Henare. So Makabe and Henare were tag team partners for World Tag League last year. And then Honma came back, and Makabe and Honma reformed Great Bash Heel. and they were teasing sort of tension between Toa and Makabe, as sort of like Toa felt like he was abandoned by Makabe because he went back to Great Bastille rather than sticking out more time with Toa. So it was very interesting. I'm interested to see if they explore that any further within their tag team combination here. I was also surprised that it was Toa and Togi Makabe again, because of the fact that Great Bastille had been reunited recently. So interested to see how that goes. But they also were tag team partners from last year, which I think some news sources report that or are missing that report. But I do remember Toa going on record saying that he was really grateful and excited to get to team with Togi Makabe for the 2017 World Tag League because of his injuries and sort of their own personal connections to that sort of thing. So interested to see. And finally, honestly, another really interesting tag team combination, probably because of the fact that they were also tag team partners last year, but there were reports of some tension between these two, is Michael Elgin and my boy Jeff Cobb. So I'm wearing a Jeff Cobb shirt for this. JC Supple. So interesting because there had been leaked sort of messages that Michael Elgin had sent out to some people saying that he felt like Jeff Cobb was a glory hog and overrated and wasn't as good as him and whatnot. And that made me really not a fan of Michael Elgin because Jeff Cobb's a homeboy. He's from Hawaii, so I gotta support Jeff Cobb. I'm hoping that Elgin and Cobb do well in World Tag League this year because they did work together pretty well last year. They had a pretty good dynamic as far as being two really big athletic guys that can go in the ring. So it was nice to see them kind of hold their own against a lot more of the more established tag teams. And I hope that with this year, they do even better still. I also hope that what's in the past is in the past and everything has sort of been worked out. I hope Elgin apologized. I hope Jeff Cobb is chill. Jeff Cobb's been having a really great year in 2018. He won Battle of Los Angeles. He's currently the Ring of Honor World Television Champion. So I'm hoping that things are going well enough for both of them that they'll be able to work this out and advance pretty far in this year's World Tag League. Anyway, this is Fumiko Mega, aka the Loose Cannon, signing off. Those are my sort of breakdowns of World Tag League this year, all 14 teams that are competing in World Tag League. So hopefully we will see some interesting matchups. I'm pretty excited for when Elgin and Cobb fight Guerrillas of Destiny and Yvonne Sonata. I'm also very interested to see Zack Sabre Jr. and Taichi battle some people because of their differing sort of personalities. I want to see how that works out. Anyway, yes, this is Loose Cannon signing off for Midcard Mama. Bang, bang.